analyst for ESPN, and of course, former NBA head coach, including for my New York Knicks back when I was a kid, Key.
Hey.
Those were happier times. Jeff will be on the ESPN call, of course, for Pelicans and Thunder. Morning, Coach.
Morning. How are you guys?
Good, Coach. How you doing? Before we jump in on the Lakers in last night's Grizzlies game, I want to ask you something. As a former head coach, what was your fine policy? Did you fine guys?
I did, but I'll tell you, if I did it again, I don't know. I don't like how it worked. You're just taking people's money. Jerry Sloan with Utah, everybody fined at that point, but Jerry Sloan was the one guy that didn't. And his whole thing was, I don't want your money, I want your commitment. And I think that's a better policy. Although I don't know then what you do if guys are not fulfilling their obligations. So. Again, I don't think it's easy, but it doesn't feel good to take somebody's money. That's for sure.
Yeah, the reason how I asked you this because Coach Parcells, who you know very well, he would fine us. I think at the time it was about $1,200, $1,300 per pound over your playing weight every single day until you got down. And we were having a conversation earlier about it, and sometimes the amounts would be so crazy that you would just be like, Coach, come on, seriously? And he would continuously do it until you got to your weight. So, yeah, your obligation we're playing weight.
Yeah, we didn't do it for weight. We just had to do, people had to do extra. But
yeah.
But man, and listen, if Parcells was fining me for my playing weight right now, I'd be broke. Jeez.
Coach Van Gundy was fortunate enough to have guys like Patrick Ewing and Charles Oakley, right? It helps to have veteran leadership and workers on the team, I'm sure, in terms of all that stuff and instilling discipline, I imagine, Coach. What are your
Yeah, it was. But I tell you what, my best, but I know you want to talk about others, but I was just thinking when you guys asked me that, Starks came flying up from the locker room. He missed a training. He didn't fulfill his obligation to meet with Mike Saunders, our trainer, when he was hurt. And he says, I can put ice on at home. And we were just yelling at each other because I think it was like $1,500 at that time. Oh, my goodness, that was funny.
Yeah, and he was bagging groceries at one point. He's not trying to lose that $1,500.
No, exactly.
Hey,
he could gamble it on the plane.
Coach, what are your initial thoughts on the Lakers' chances against the Grizz in the first round?
Well, I think, what's understated is how hurt the Grizzlies are. Adams is out, Clark is out, so their front line has been absolutely decimated. And the whole Anthony Davis matchup is going to be a challenge. They have Tillman as their starting center. They really don't have a lot of front court depth. And then, Jaren Jackson Jr., who's a terrific defender, but is very foul prone if they match him up with Davis. So I think the Lakers have a chance. I thought last night's defensive effort in the second half, particularly the fourth quarter and overtime, keyed by Schroeder and Davis, was a great example of what they're capable of at that end of the floor. So because of the injuries and because of the defense the Lakers are capable of, I think they have a chance. I think they're the underdog, but I think it's more of a toss-up series.
The coach, Jeff Van Gundy, ESPN NBA analyst and former head coach, joining us this morning, Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Coach, you mentioned last night, the Lakers, the defensive effort put in the second half. But as a former head coach and a great analyst, when you saw Anthony Davis close out in the end of that game with 0.1 seconds on Conley and get that foul, what do you say to him in that situation?
Well, I think there's a bigger issue than just the foul. Everybody says switch everything late, like 1.4 seconds, right? And I've never understood that whole switch everything mentality. Anthony Davis, there was confusion because there was multiple screening actions. And so there was this huge gap between Conley and Davis. So he had two choices. close slow and, just live with the result, or close hard, which he did. And I didn't think it was really a great call either. I didn't think it was really a foul. But my point is I just didn't like – I don't like when Anthony Davis is like in these actions where there's these multiple screening actions and now he's trying to do something he hasn't done all game. I think sometimes, staying with your own and then driving through screens, particularly up three, like they should have been on the top side. I've always wondered sometimes why we, guard in the 2-point area versus put all 5 guys surrounding the arc at that point in the game, knowing they have to try to shoot a 3 anyway. So anyway, I just didn't like necessarily that Davis was involved in the switching, but the one thing you can't do is you just can't foul. You can't foul a jump shooter. It's a killer.
Jeff Van Gundy, who will be on the ESPN call of Pelicans Thunder. So we've been trying to talk about Zion Williamson kind of all show, and we keep getting sidetracked. Can New Orleans win an opening series if Zion returns?
If Zion Williamson is healthy and he's productive, New Orleans could win the West. I believe. I think he's that good. I think they're, with Williamson, as talented as any team in the West, and he's an impossible matchup. And I know, he's played, 29 games this year. He's played 114 games, I think, through 4 years. But I think there is hope if you're a New Orleans fan. Joel Embiid, through his first 4 years, I think played 94 games.
Yep.
So, it doesn't look good now. It's bleak. He's always hurt. It's a big what if. But hopefully for Williamson and the Pelicans that he can get back and, have sort of a much healthier second act of his NBA career. He is powerful around the rim. You must commit a second guy to him. So, he's a good passer against double teams. Now, he's not a good defender, but they have other guys like Herb Jones who are excellent defenders to try to cover up for that area. But, man, he is a matchup nightmare. And I think people forget they were like in first place at one point this year in the Western Conference because with McCollum, Ingram, Williamson, and Valanciunas, that is a powerful starting 5, along with Trey Murphy, who's probably one of the most underrated young players in our game.
Jeff Van Gundy, Coach Jeff Van Gundy, appreciate your time as always, Coach.
All right, take care. You guys find each other when you guys screw up now. That's what you guys should implement at the show.
All right, Coach.
We agree.
We actually did that. We actually had that going when the show first started when we would screw up words. That's why that money jar sat on the table for so long.
By the way, Coach brought up – yeah, Coach.
No, I was just listening. I think it's a heck of a thing. You guys should publish your fine system, and then everybody, all your listeners, could participate. Like if it really was a word screw up, like you could have like an impartial judge out in the audience. That'd be good.
Max would go broke.
Me? Me, the nerve. Thank you, Coach.
All right, Coach.
All right, take care.
See, I need him. I needed Van Gundy as my coach, man.
Right.
Get
that money back.
Man, he's talking about not finding guys anymore. Come on.
By the way, you brought up C.J. McCollum. It's a great, remember when why do they need C.J. McCollum? Because you need a veteran who can play.
Veteran player.
Not a dude, not a mascot on the bench, a dude who can play.
A veteran player who can play and go get it when he needs to.
Is there a gap between KD and LeBron? After Key has this from you want to do fines for messing up words? Okay, Key, let's hear about Vivid Seats. Go.
I don't have it. Hold on one second.
Sit, dip.
Wait.
I screwed that one up, Max. You got that.
Yeah,
I got
that's
that.
Not me.
That's Nuno. Fine for Nuno.
Unlike some people, I'm taking